What up, y'all, and welcome to DK Mixes. I don't have my camera on today because I'm honestly just trying to get this video done. I'm at home and I'm mastering this song for an amazing artist. His name is Cayden, and I wanted to show this to you today because this is how it should feel like for mastering. And I know a lot of people have questions about mastering, and this song has been mixed very, very well. And shout out to my guy DJ Burns out in Provo, Utah, Utah Valley in Utah, and he did a really good job. Shout out to Cayden on this one. Did a really incredible job. So this is still unreleased, so I don't know if the link is going to be in the bio for the official release, but you can look him up, Cayden Corbett. This song is called Best I Ever Had. I don't want to do a lot of talking. I just kind of want to get to it, but I do want to make a couple points. Now, at the studio, at my studio, I own a pair of very large mastering grade monitors, and I have a lot of outboard gear, analog gear. But the part of the reason why I want to make this video, and I want to be a little bit vulnerable here too, because I want to show to you that even at home on my headphones with an all-in-the-box master, you can do this too. And granted, you don't have my ears, and I won't be able to give you my ears, but I wanted to show you what the process is like, how fast it actually is, and kind of explain to you my thought process, and more importantly, hoping that you pick up my thought process through the different techniques that I use to get it to where I want. So I'm just going to kind of shut up now, and I'm going to let this play. And feel free, if you have any questions about it afterwards, feel free to DM me on Twitter or Instagram at DK Mixes. That's DEEKEI Mixes. And I do have a free PDF to help you master on my web store. So it's free. It's totally free. All you have to do is enter your email. You can find that at links.dkmixes.com. So links.deekeimixes.com. I'm just going to go ahead and get started on this. So the first thing that I'm really doing is that I'm listening to the song from top to bottom.
Does it keep you up now?
Now, most of the time, if I'm in a rush, I won't listen to the whole song. I'll skip through it, but this is one of those times I'm not. So I want to prove a point here and trying to show you the right way to do it.
Can we still talk about it? Can we shut off the city lights? I wanna know earthquakes on a fault line, snowflakes in July. I guess I could give us another try.
So without looking at my meters, I can tell that there's a little bit of buildup in the mids. I can tell that there's a little bit of kind of a lot of competition and frequencies in the uppers as well, the upper mids, around like 7 to 10K-ish. Oh, that 9-10K is really killing me on this one. So if I lower that 9-10K and I boost above that, the air band, I know it's going to keep it bright, but make it a little bit warmer. There's a lot of sub and bass frequencies that are missing. I'm going to bring those in. This mix is amazing. It's really balanced, actually. So I'm just kind of like touching it up. I'm not trying to mix it. When you hire me specifically, I treat it, I'm not a mastering engineer. I do a lot of mastering for people and for labels. But my idea is I'm literally just mixing a 2-track. So what I'm hearing, when people hire me, I've already set the expectation that I'm setting the expectations that they're gonna allow me to mix it for them. So, mix master it like I'm mixing it. So I do a little bit more than normal. In the normal mastering, you almost want to do nothing, especially if you're mastering for yourself. You want to do very little. You hear anything you want to change, go back to the mix. But there is a lot of processing that you can do on the mix bus or on the 2-track that kind of glues everything together. using the same EQ on the entire thing does something with the phase. So the left and right channel will kind of, it'll boost and mold frequencies with the same phase. The compression, the kick drum will compress the vocals on the 2-track. So there's a lot of things that you can do on the 2-track that actually is part of the mix that I use. Some people don't do anything on the mix bus, but I definitely do. And in this case, they're hiring me to just master it. And I know for a fact that this client specifically wants me to put in my creative taste because he really likes my mixes, but he did hire this one out to somebody else. No offense to me. I don't feel bad about it at all. And I'm really grateful that he kind of reached back out to me. So I'm just going to kind of do what I know that he likes because I've worked with him before, but also keep it really subtle and make it really loud. That's like, you'll notice that I'm doing a lot of small things, but the small things add up. I'll turn it on and I'll turn off all the processing on and off multiple times so you guys can hear what I'm doing. Yeah, so here it goes. So for this one, what I just did there is I'm gonna probably raise more low end. There's still not enough low end, and I kind of transferred the energy of the top end from the upper mids and that really harsh 5, 6 to 10K to the air band above it. Also, what I did with the mid range right here, as you can see, is I'm focusing on the balance between the instrument and the vocals. Now, I wish the vocals are louder, and I definitely can, and I probably will. In fact, I'm going to show you right now. This is one way that you can cheat with Ozone 9 Master Rebalance. This, you don't want to do too much, but I can raise the volume of the vocals by itself, and I think that's going to kind of help it out. I'm not going to lie to you, that's really harsh. Smooth it out with some saturation. This is also going to help with the volume. Now this plugin is cheating. This plugin is dope. Feel free to take my settings. It's like an automatic EQ processor thing. think I'm gonna do this. What I'm gonna do here actually is first I'm gonna put in a little bit of bus compression. I think like a touch of compression. One of my favorites is the Vertigo. It's very clean. And on this one, I'm going to use a little bit of that super slow attack and release. So see how this part is bigger in general than this part? This is going to help. This one is a little bit faster, so it's going to help out tame those transients, where this one that's built in, I'm just using it partially because I'm being lazy. I could use something else that's like a UAD Manly or something. I'm just honestly just being lazy because it does the same thing. Look at how slow that attack and release is. It almost looks like it's not doing anything. But when it gets here, it's almost not compressing anything. So what it's doing is that it's ignoring the transients, and it's lowering the entire volume of this fat part to even out this part, if that makes sense. So fast compression for the transients, slow compression for sections. Now this is dope because I can like sidechain compress 2.5K and up. See how dark it gets? And I could tell if I do it too much, it's hurting the vocal. There's definitely still not enough low end, so I'm going to use this Pultec style EQ here to add some low ended. And maybe for this additive EQ, I'm going to look at my meters a little bit. So that instrument, this is showing me that the instrument is still kind of killing the vocals here. So let me see what I can do here. Now that I kind of got everything in place, now I'm going to try to add back some of that upper mids in a nicer way. Very subtle here. I'm going to turn down the output because I've added some volume. See how it transfers some of that energy into the back into the vocals. Now this is some of the secret sauce. I'm basically done. We're done. Low end focus from Ozone is really cool. It brings that, kind of separates the kick and the bass. But the problem with it is that it kind of does it through phase, so you don't want to do too much. The secret to loudness is not using one limiter a lot, but using a couple, at least 2 or 3 limiters, very little bit. Like less than 2 dBs. Like if you're hitting more than 2 dBs on a limiter, then it's definitely changing the sound dramatically. So you don't want to change the sound, you just want it louder. So you'll see this is my first limiter here, and I might add a third. I don't know. Usually I can get away with 2, so let's check it out. put the final volume raising limiter. I'm gonna put that on the master track, so I can like mute all of the processing into the limiter, so you can kind of hear what I'm doing at the same volume here. Now there is one plugin that I usually like to use for mastering, or the 2-track processing, or just in general, is the Oxford Inflator. But I think that the mix already came pretty crushed. I'm pretty happy with where it's at. It's already got some limiting on it, so I don't think it needs it right now. Usually I use the inflator more for like an EQ anyway. I think that EQing, I do a lot of EQing via saturation, which is a really good technique to have and a way to think about saturation. So I don't think it needs it right now, but let me kind of make this loud first, and then we'll get there. I just turned on and off the plugins, all the plugins on the main track here. You can definitely hear difference. I transfer the energy. There's a lot of clashing frequencies in the mid-range and the upper mids there. You can hear how much I've transferred it into the tops and into the lows. I've kind of made this a more pop hit. It punches a little bit harder. There's a lot more kick, drum, and bass now. The vocals, this is hard to do with a 2-track. That's why I had to cheat with a little bit of the master rebalance. But usually when you carve out and have to reallocate like these mid-range frequencies to different parts, it does change the loudness of different instruments, because the guitars are the mid-range, right? And the vocals are going to be a lot of mid-range and upper mids. When this, for some reason, the way that this is mixed, the upper mid-range was a little bit clashing, so I kind of reallocated that stuff there. And I think that this is actually really important, because when you do master, I'm not looking at it the same way. The mix is done. Does that make sense? I'm looking at the general spectral sonic character of this song in its entirety. Sure, I might be thinking turn up the guitars a little bit, but I don't have the guitar track, and the guitar sounds fine. I'm just kind of like reallocating frequencies and kind of shifting them around over the entire thing to make the entire thing feel balanced, not necessarily individual instruments. So the reason why mastering is kind of hard is because you can do way too much. What I did here, I just went through 9 plugins, including the final limiter, 9 plugins, and the difference is very subtle. But at the same time, now that I'm showing you the A and the B, it is so obviously better, right? So that's kind of the secret to mastering, is that if you are mastering your own music, I mean, I would recommend you at least take a day to kind of reset, and also go into it remembering, like, if you mixed it, then your goal of the mix bus, or mastering process, is to do the least amount that you want. Unless putting stuff on the mix bus is part of your mixing process, when you're like ready, when you're done with the mix and you're ready to master it, honestly, you should be able to just put on a limiter. But because they're like, usually with mastering engineering, the reason why there's so few of them and why it's so hard is because mastering engineers get paid. People pay me because I have a better ear than most mixers. Now, I'm a mixing engineer, but I'm a damn good mixing engineer. Hence why I get hired a lot for mastering, because other people don't have my ear. This is a really good mix. But see how in 20 minutes, in 10 minutes, in 30 seconds, I was able to find the problems. And within a few minutes, I was able to fix the problems slowly, right? And this is not a matter of equipment. I'm doing this on my headphones at home, right? I'm doing this in a matter of like minutes with very little thought. This is why people pay me for mastering. And this is why you want to hire a mastering engineer, or if you're going to do it yourself, you want to think about it in this way. This is not mixing. This is totally different. But I will never claim to be a mastering engineer because most of my income comes from mixing and production, right? Mastering engineer is a title that I honor and I leave to those that only really master. And I'm not going to belittle their career by calling myself a mastering engineer. And that being said, if anybody's listening right now, if you're promoting, I would say go ahead and promote that you master, but be careful with who you call a mastering engineer. And if you call yourself a mastering engineer, because at the end of the day, I'm going to whip your ass and I'm not even a mastering engineer, right? Like I will master better than you, right? And I've had many instances where my masters, like labels do a shootout, and my masters were picked over Grammy winning mastering engineers, which is fine. It might be a little bit of a taste thing. I may have done a lot more. This is why I'm like a mixing masterer, because I'm thinking about the mix a little bit too. That's part of my skill set here. So I do, and a traditional mastering engineer that does have a really good ear and lots of experience, do the least amount possible and try to make sure that you can't hear the master. Mastering doesn't take a song from 9 to 10. Mastering, like the mix should take it from whatever to 10. The mix should be done, right? The mastering engineer takes it from 10 to 11, a level that you didn't even know existed, that is literally off the chart, and you can't explain how they did it or why they did it. That's the point of mastering. So I'm ranting a little bit here, but I hope that you kind of learn from this. And I'm gonna play this rest of the song, and I'm gonna bounce it out. Honestly, it's done. I didn't need to use the inflator. I didn't need to use a third limiter. Boom, this is done. Let's bounce this out. Hold on. I know that y'all are waiting. I'm going to do more before and afters of turning off the plugins before we do a full bounce down. Here you go. And these are just specific tools that I use. There's 100 other plugins that I could have used to do the similar thing. But the important part of this, and this goes to mixing as well, is that I heard the song and knew what it needed before I even started putting plugins in. Every plugin has a purpose, and every plugin has a sound. And although they are super subtle, none of what I did was out of habit. And every single plugin and how much I'm using it and is on purpose. And that's the important part. Experienced engineers know where it can go and takes it there. Beginning engineers are trying to figure out where it can go. And when you hire someone that's trying to figure out where it can go, it will lack that sound that you're looking for. I've been like, in 2020, I did 1,019 songs. I mixed 1,019 songs. Like, there's no way that I've done way too many genres and way too many songs from way too many artists. And many of my fellow colleagues that are also as experienced, double as experienced, more than experienced, legendary people, including my mentors, they say the same thing. They already hear the potential and they're taking it there. It's not trying to figure it out. Now, maybe I'll like test a couple plugins because I'm looking for a specific sound and it's not taking me there and it's not doing what I want. And then I have to try a bunch of different plugins to take me where I want. But do you see how that's different? The mindset is different. I'm not trying to use a bunch of different plugins to see what makes it sound better. I already know what I want it to sound like. So I have to use different plugins to find that sound that I already can hear in my head. Does that make sense? So one of the plugins that I could have used on this is BX makes a plugin called, let's try it out right now. And let's see if it does make a difference. I don't know if it really will, but they, what is it called? The BX makes a plugin called, shoot. Let's see, let's go to Plugin Alliance. I forgot what it's called. I don't use this one too much. Refinement. That kind of reallocates upper mids to the highs and things. You'll see it. It's kind of like a de-esser. It's supposed to warm things up, but we all know that warming things up means just taking off the top end. So let's try this out. I'm really going to exaggerate it just to kind of show you what it does here. I really like what it's doing. Let's turn them all off and on again one more time. Yo, I was not planning on keeping that, and I didn't think I'd need it, but now that I heard it, I'm going to do it. That was an instance of me doing the opposite, which is, let's try it out, and it worked. I really liked it. I did like the way that it kind of changed and reallocated the, and warmed it up, and reallocated the high-mid frequencies where it's kind of piercing and sharp up into the top end, and maybe even just lower in general. And it's dynamic, so it moves. It doesn't do it always, and it's very subtle, which is what I want and what I like. I'm not trying to change the mix. So on that note, let's bounce this out, and this video is done. Let's bounce it out.
In July, I guess I could give us another try. True.
And that's it. Really simple. Now I'm going to put this online and send it to the client. So thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe. And I always have deals and affiliate things going on. So if you want to support me and my channel, again, visit links.dkmixes.com and you can see all of the stuff. For example, I'm affiliate with DistroKid and with FilePass and a bunch of other stuff that I know that y'all can benefit from. And I don't even feel bad about promoting because they make me money. Even without the affiliate, I mean. So I really recommend checking it out. Again, I have like a free mastering PDF on my website. Again, links.dkmixes.com. Thanks so much for watching. Happy mixing, my friends, and stay saucy.